Welcome back to another video. Today I've got my dad.
What's up?
And we're playing a St. Jude doubles tournament in Columbus, Mississippi at Probst Disc Golf Park.
It's a great park, by the way.
It's going to be me and my dad on a team, and then Frank and Jonathan, and here's Dad on hole number 1 of our tournament, or course hole number 2.
This is a easy little par 3 that you should be able to birdie if you hit the line. It's a tough little hyzer line around there. I threw a Freedom. I wanted to sort of throw it 70% power and hyzer flip up and just ride the fade in, and I didn't do so well.
I'm going a pretty overstable Hellfire, and I'm going for the low skip shot, and I threw it pretty perfectly.
Other than missing that tree by about 1/4 of an inch, but you have to hug that tree in order to throw the right shot, so good shot there.
You can see the line up the middle right there, and I guess that's what you're intended to take, but I don't really see anybody take that. I see everybody take the hyzer.
Well, most people can't throw a straight shot. I mean, the straight shot is the hardest thing to throw in disc golf, so the hyzer line is definitely safer.
I was surprised Frank didn't take out that glow beadless steady he had in his hand, but he's taking out the Hellfire like I did, and I think he's going for the low skip shot too.
And he misses the tree by less than you do. But it still turned out to be a great shot. These two discs will be within 2 or 3 feet of one another.
I thought he aced it after it missed that tree, the way it was looking. Good putt from Jonathan. That's going to start them off pretty good, and then we got about the same putt.
Nice to start off a doubles round with a couple of drop-in birdies. So 1 down for each team going into the second hole, which is actually hole 3 here at the park.
You're going, what are you throwing here?
I threw an understable fairway driver, and you can see that I just turned it over. It didn't end up quite as bad as it looked, but it did not end up good for sure.
I had the Hellfire in my hand, and then it just looks like a longer shot than it is right here, so I'm going to throw an overstable Torrent. There's a lot of wind in this round, by the way. It was 31 degrees when we first started, and then there's 15-mile-an-hour wind constantly throughout the round. So
thankfully that, it got warmer as the day progressed, and the wind did die down some. It didn't completely go away, but it just will not let this disc you throw here finish. You threw a really smooth flick, just what you wanted to. It just stayed straight.
Yeah, that's about 100 feet long, so not going to be what we want. I think Jonathan's pulling out one of his Firebirds he throws. Jonathan has a pretty good flick, so he's pretty confident throwing a little hyzer right here, and he throws that perfect.
It really can't be thrown any better. That's the way to throw that shot. That was just about perfect. They've got a drop in too, and we're both 80-ish each from the basket.
Frank's going with the beadless steady, and just probably not what he wanted.
Nailed it. That's how far we are. Good little run. I mean, that's a drop in. Obviously gives you the ability to run it. As you can see, we actually ended up taking my drive, so it wasn't as bad as it looked initially, but obviously not great.
Maybe got a little roll off that hill.
Possibly.
I'm taking out one of my steadies. This one's really straight, so I use it for jump putts, and I just throw it really low.
Well, you just didn't want it.
I just didn't want it.
So we're going to clean up a par. They're going to get a 2. Great hole. They've started off 2 down after 2. We're 1 down, but that's not too bad.
This next hole is, I think, like 200 feet, just right at it. Very short, really straight. There's a few trees to miss, but it should just be a birdie every single time. And I think Jonathan's pulling out one of the So Blue M4s.
And just absolutely throws it about perfect. That's 2 perfect drives from Jonathan, 2 holes in a row. That just ran straight at the basket. Didn't turn, didn't fade, straight at it the whole time. They got a drop in from that. So I guess Frank's going to try to ace it. Great putter thrower off the tee. Missed his line.
He missed that so bad. Frank is so good at throwing putters, so I feel like I can make fun of it a little bit, because usually he's gonna park anything within 350 with a putter.
And I throw this a little low, but got a great skip straight at the basket, and it skips up. We have a drop in too, so you get to run it.
Yeah, I'm going to throw the Quake here and try to put it on a little flex and give it an ace run. And I don't. I throw it on a little hyzer, and it's not an ace run.
Well, the Quake's, you know, everybody might not know what it is. Almost as overstable as a Justice. Probably not quite that, but it is definitely a very overstable mid-range, and you got to flex it if you're going to throw it on that hole. But anyway, we get a drop in 2, they do too, and we're both going to end up starting this tournament off pretty decently.
You don't know he makes this putt yet.
I think he does. He takes his time. Boom.
So they're going to get 3 down after 3. That's a really good start for them. This next hole is probably the longest par 3 on the course that I can think of right off my head. It is, and I think it's right at 350. And Jonathan's going with what I think is a Thunderbird. There's a lot of wind on this hole, and even some overstable discs are going to look a little less overstable just because of the wind. I mean, we had to deal with a lot of wind along with it being cold. It was really hard to hold your discs, and
well, it's a direct headwind right here, and so the disc you want to throw, you can't. And Frank throws a perfect shot, which just turns over right and hits the tree right there on the right. It wasn't him as much; it was just the headwind.
Yeah, he threw a pipeline there. I was shocked at that decision, just mainly because of distance and then the wind too.
And I threw a havoc and hit the same limb that Frank hit. So we need something from you.
Same thing you did.
Yeah, I'm going with an overstable hurricane. I was pretty shocked at y'all's decisions there, but the thing about this hole is from the tee we really could not feel a lot of wind. I mean, we didn't know there was that much wind until Jonathan threw his, and so I'm going with something pretty overstable and then just going to trust the turn, and then I just yank it over. So it's an overstable disc. It's going to fade out, put us within 50, but it's not exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, when the straight headwind is we really found out how much wind there was as we were walking towards the hole. Both those drives ended up in circle 2. That's really not that bad considering the conditions, how cold it was with the wind. So here's their putt.
And this is for birdie for Jonathan and Frank. How far do you think they are? 60?
Yeah. And that was a great run. I mean, it looked like it was in from our vantage point, but it obviously missed closely.
Just a little low from him. He's usually a pretty good putter.
And what did I tell you I was going to do right here?
He walks up to this and says, we're just going to make this putt. And I was really hoping he was confident in it because we had a lot of wind, and I think it was like a right to left from here, and I'm just not confident in that wind, so I'm really glad he walked up and made that.
Yeah, probably about 55 feet. So that caught us up with them. Both teams 3 under after 4. Decent start in a doubles tournament.
This next hole is one of the harder holes here because you either have to throw a 320, 330 foot hyzer flick or throw something dead straight through a 10-foot gap right off the tee.
Yeah, Miss Wendy, our camera lady, is standing in a direction that makes it look like that gap right there is huge, and you can throw a hyzer through there. It is not nearly that big, and if you throw directly between there, you will end up on the tee box of hole 4. So the best thing to do is what you do. Flick right up through that gap and let it fade right around to the basket.
Hole 4 of the course, hole 3 that we played, just
right
for clarification.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, we started on hole 2. And I absolutely nailed that tree.
Yeah, great shot.
Yeah, thank you. It was perfect if it hadn't hit the tree, by the way. It was going to be par.
Easy to say now, huh? He throws a destroyer, I think. Pretty overstable. Decent shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And he gives Frank the ability to try to hit the same line that I hit, or attempted to hit, I should say.
I think Frank is throwing a special blend aftershock. That's what it looks like right there.
Now that's his mid-range of choice. He hits the line that I missed, and it ends up okay.
He goes a little long. I remember that shot. He can throw a long ways. Frank can throw very far. He throws that special blend aftershock pretty well too. So it was a good run. We're farther away than it looks like on camera. I mean, we're a good bit outside the circle.
That putt was probably as far as the putt that we made on the previous hole. Maybe a little bit closer. Yeah, we're probably close to 50 feet here. And you are confident, too confident.
Out of my hand, I thought that was perfect, and it just lifted, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I was a little too confident. And this putt they have looks like it would be just an easy little 20-footer, but it's not. They have a ton in the way. And, I mean, it's really hard to get out of there.
Yeah, they're actually tons of limbs. Frank tried several setups to try to have a good little shot. You're not going to see all of that on this video, but he's got a bunch of limbs that he's having to deal with. So this is a tough putt, even though it's well within the circle.
I thought he hit that.
That really was a good run considering the look that they had there.
So we all got drop-ins. And standing behind you on this putt, I thought you missed it.
Well, as you can see, I didn't, so you need more confidence in your dad. Both teams are 3 down after 5 holes, so that's not too bad.
You're throwing something I thought was perfect out of your hand. Also, I mean, there's still a ton of wind, so it flipped all the way over halfway through that flight, and I'm taking a flick just to be safe.
That was a captain, and it was one of the more overstable captains that I've thrown, and I threw it on a little bit of hyzer, and it just absolutely turned over. But you hit a tree. Had you not hit that tree, that was a great shot.
I thought I threw it perfect out of my hand, but it hit that limb, as you can see. Jonathan saw my line and took it. But he corrected off that and threw a pretty good shot. Almost hits the people in the last tee box, but it ends up being a crush.
Yeah, it was an absolutely great shot, for sure. Frank has watched my disc flip all the way over. He knows what kind of wind he's dealing with here.
Yeah, he's throwing something pretty overstable, too.
And he is going to come out on some heavy hyzer. So,
yeah, spoiler alert. He throws a hyzer.
Yeah, no way that disc is going right.
Really hard to trust a disc over that. That cliff you see right there goes straight into a river. You can't tell on the camera, but you're probably not getting your disc back. Like, you didn't get that captain back, I don't think, did you?
No, I did not. And I was mad at it after 2 drives in a row that turned out terrible. I really thought I had a good shot up to the basket right there, and I just clipped that tree and didn't.
This is the shot, I think, that made me realize we were playing in more wind than I thought. So I pull out my Nuke OS here, which is, I mean, by far the most overstable disc I have in the bag. And I throw it looking for that low skip, and it just goes absolutely dead straight. And then still gets a Nuke OS skip straight in the woods.
Yeah, not our best shot there. This is a hole that you need to 3. This is a short par 4 that is, you know, a lot of parks would just, it's a tweener. A lot of parks, this would just be a long par 3. This is in a doubles tournament, you need to get this hole, and we, you know, obviously are way out for our birdie putt.
It's actually somewhat eagleable if you really go for it, but just not in this wind. There was no way really to get to the basket in this wind unless you flicked like Jonathan did.
So Frank threw a little bit past the basket down that hill. Jonathan just lays it up under the basket. They're going to get a nice drop in 3. We've got a long putt for our 3.
You gave that a decent run, and it's parked.
Good run. So.
Yeah, you can't tell. That hill literally drops off.
And then goes right to the river. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 feet behind the basket. So
Gave
you
me
run
ability
it.
to run it.
Absolutely. And you're on the hill, but I'm under the basket, so we're good.
Yeah, if we had taken my shot, we would have had at least a 30-footer, maybe more. It depends on how much it rolls, but I would never run that in a singles round. Good 3 from them, though.
Yeah, we were a little disappointed at this point. I don't. It's been rare that in singles rounds on this hole that we've taken a 4. But anyway, they're 4 down. We're 3 down. 6 holes in. Not too terrible.
Yeah, we're struggling a little bit right here. The last 2 holes I really wanted to get, but that's fine. We can come back from that. This is a short little flick hole. I think you throw a turnover here, but for me, it's a flick.
Well, my shoulders are considerably older than your shoulders, so.
Frank doesn't really flick much. I mean, he does some, but he would rather throw a turnover putter. And if you throw turnover putters as good as he does, I guess you would too.
He throws this really well, and it is turning over towards the basket, and it clips that bottom limb.
Oh yeah, that was going to be well inside the circle. That was a flippy putter that he loves to throw. You're throwing that same understable fairway, right?
Yep. And I hit another bottom limb going in, so we're circle 2. This is a hole you need to get.
Yeah, I'm throwing a Hellfire here. I think this is, this is one of my more overstable ones. And I throw it low, goes straight, and then skips. Yeah, I remember that shot.
Great shot.
I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, good shot. Well inside circle one. I think it's almost bullseye if I recall.
Yeah.
They have a little bit of a putt left here. Edge of circle.
This is Jonathan's drive, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Frank hit that tree on the left, so.
Oh, yeah. So here's Frank trying to get them a birdie.
Great putt, Frank.
Dead center. Can't beat that.
When Frank gets on, he's just so hard to beat because his drives are already always going to be there, but his putt is so good.
Yeah, and you pretty much parked it for us, so.
That was a good birdie.
So we're 4 under after 7, or after 7, yeah, and they're
7.
5 under after 7. I had to think about that for a second.
Hole 8 on the course, but 7 here.
He takes out a little zone, I think. Drone, okay.
That one's pretty overstable, he said. He threw that very well.
It is literally under the basket.
Great roll.
So,
Yeah, good shot.
very well thrown.
Frank is taking out that same flippy putter. I'm just really shocked he wouldn't flick here. He has a good flick. He throws the turnover putter very well, but he has a really good flick too.
Maybe since Jonathan put it under the basket, he felt like he could run it better with the putter. I don't know.
Well, he ran it because it's about 100 feet long.
Yeah, I think he didn't know where the basket was right there. Just kidding, Frank. So I'm going to bring out my 45-year-old flick because that's the best thing here for sure. I flick a defender.
It was smooth.
And 8 feet. Yeah.
Thought you aced it till you hit that tree. I'm flicking that same Hellfire here, and I really, in my mind, just wanted to give it a run. Just threw it way too high. I'm going to catch those limbs, but he's parked. So.
Yeah, so we're getting on a little bit of a roll. We've gotten several in a row. With the exception of that one par 4 that we felt like we should have gotten, but
Good putt.
yeah, we were both about 7 or 8 feet out, drop ins. So we're still basically on the front of the course. We've played 8 holes.
That was hole number 9 of the course.
Right, they're 6 under, we're 5 under. That's decent. This is a goofy little hole across a little valley. It sets up on a little peninsula right near the parking lot.
Yeah, this is harder than it looks on camera. Those trees always come into play, and Jonathan he's throwing that. I think that's that M4 again, that So Blue M4. He's throwing that very well today.
It is that So Blue M4, and I mean, it just absolutely goes straight. It doesn't do anything. No turning, no fading, just straight at the basket.
Frank's throwing a beadless steady. I think I've said that so many times in videos. He throws that disc so well.
There's something about this, and I think this is one of those. Is this a glow one?
I think this is his D line. He wants it to, yeah, this is the D line, and he's trying to ace run it, but it flips over a little more than he wanted. But that's still 20 feet from the basket.
There's something about that disc that he just feels like the release is good for him. He's extremely confident with it. I'm throwing a goby. I'm trying to just go straight at the basket. I throw it a little high. It's around the tree and pretty much parked. So
Yeah.
I was pleased with that shot.
I was really happy with that because I'm not really confident here. I think I'm throwing a beadless steady as well. Yeah, I'm throwing a D line here. I almost flicked one of my after shocks, and I was pretty happy with this shot. Actually, I don't really play this hole very well sometimes. So.
You almost have to throw right at that large tree that's leaning a little bit, and that looks like what you did. You actually slid up well inside the circle, but mine was so close that we just ended up taking it. They've got a good little putt at it here. This is Jonathan's shot that they ended up taking, I'm pretty sure.
We made this hole seem easier than it usually is because I've seen a lot of drives that you think are really good get hit, and then they're 60 feet from the basket.
Well, it can roll down that hill so easily, so.
Yeah, that's pretty. 2 good birdies right there.
Yeah, 9 holes in, they're 7 down, all but 2 holes. We're 6 down, so it's been a good little round.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video, guys.